The bank, the teller slipped me a note that said, "Are you here alone?" I almost missed it entirely, the small folded paper sliding across the marble counter beneath my withdrawal slip. I noticed how her eyes kept darting to something behind me, then back to my face with an intensity that made me uncomfortable. The note was written in shaky blue pen. "Are you here alone?" When I nodded yes, she slipped me another piece of paper while pretending to adjust her keyboard. This one read, "Don't look around, just smile. Are there others waiting outside for you?" My stomach tightened as I forced myself to maintain eye contact with her, shaking my head no, while my mind raced through possibilities. Was this some kind of scam? A strange pickup attempt? Or something else entirely? "Do you need anything else?" she asked loudly. I pocketed the notes and said I wanted to open a savings account, buying time to understand what was happening. She nodded enthusiastically and gestured for me to sit in the waiting area while she gathered the paperwork. As I settled into the leather chair, I studied the bank more carefully. The security guard hadn't moved from his position or looked up from his phone once. The other customers conducted their business in hushed tones, and I realized with a chill that no one had actually left since I'd arrived 10 minutes ago. The teller returned with forms and a tablet, sitting close enough that I could smell her perfume. Her hand brushed mine as she passed me the pen, and I felt another paper pressed into my palm. While pretending to read the account terms, I unfolded it in my lap. "They're listening. Act normal. When I cough, drop your pen." She began explaining interest rates in a bright, steady voice, while her left hand, hidden from the rest of the bank by her body, tapped frantically against her thigh in what looked like Morse code, though I couldn't read it. The teller coughed delicately into her elbow, and I let the pen roll off the tablet onto the floor. As we both reached for it, our heads briefly hidden by the desk, she whispered so quietly, I almost missed it. "There are 2 men in the back office, manager and staff." Before I could respond, we were upright again, with her apologizing loudly for her clumsiness, while her eyes darted toward the hallway leading to the bank offices. Through the glass door, I could see the edge of a desk and someone's feet perfectly still. The teller started typing my information into the computer, and I noticed she was typing far more than the basic details I'd provided. On the screen's reflection in her glasses, I caught glimpses of words that weren't part of any bank form: help and police and silent. She quickly minimized the window when footsteps echoed from the back hallway, and a man in a crisp suit emerged, his jacket bulging oddly at the hip. He asked the teller how everything was going in a tone that made her fingers freeze over the keyboard. "Just opening a new account for this customer," she said. He looked at me with pale, calculating eyes and suggested I might want to consider their premium checking option, placing a heavy hand on her shoulder as he spoke. She winced, but kept typing, and I agreed to whatever he was saying while noticing the security guard had finally moved, not to patrol, but to lock the front door and flip the sign to closed, even though it was only 2 p.m. "Technical difficulties," the suited man explained smoothly, though his hand never left the teller's shoulder. "We'll have everyone finished up shortly." That's when I saw it. The second man emerging from the office carrying a duffel bag, his face covered by a medical mask that didn't hide the weapon tucked into his waistband. The teller's typing had become frantic, and I realized she'd been entering emergency codes into the system before they disabled it, trying to trigger any alarm that might still work. The realization hit me like ice water. We were all hostages in a silent robbery, forced to play our parts while they cleaned out the vault. "Sign here," the teller said, sliding me the papers and a final note. "Fire exit, bathroom, 30 seconds. I signed slowly, pretending to read every line while she excused herself, saying she needed to get my temporary checks from the supply room. The moment she turned the corner, I stood and asked for the bathroom, my heart hammering as the suited man hesitated before nodding toward the hallway. I walked normally, casually, until I reached the bathroom door, and then I kept walking, hitting the fire exit at a run as the alarms finally shrieked to life. Looks like the teller had found one system they'd forgotten to disable. Behind me, I heard shouting and chaos as I sprinted toward the street, already dialing 911, knowing she had risked everything to save a stranger who'd simply come to withdraw $300 on an ordinary Tuesday afternoon.